The wait is finally over for the Blues. It has been 18 long years and they have won. They've won a Super Rugby title. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Just a really quick reaction. Yes, I'm wearing a Blues shirt. I am a Chiefs supporter, but I'm supporting my Blues friends tonight. And, oh man, I'm happy for them. You know, it was oh boy, that was a quality game of rugby. That's one of the best rugby games we've seen for a while. I mean, the Transtasman comp, it's been a wee bit out there. There's been a lot of high-scoring matches and free-flowing rugby, but this was brutal. This was a real brutal physical encounter up there at Eden Park, and the Highlanders, wow, full credit to them, man. They proved just why they are the most resilient team, in my opinion, of Super Rugby. They just never ever go away. So I would love to know what you think. Jump in the chat down below. Let me know what you thought about the game. There were a lot of talking points, and I'll try and touch on a few of them. And yeah, I'm just going to ramble for 10 minutes about my reactions of the game. And if you enjoy that, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Give me a thumbs up, ring the bell so you don't miss future videos. So it was 23-15 at Eden Park, and that final 20 minutes will probably be what a lot of people talk about. But right from the kickoff, this was a real good game of football, and I felt that the Blues were very, very slow off the mark tonight. They didn't look all that good in that opening 10-15 minutes, but when they, particularly after they scored that first try, they really started to settle down and they got into their work. And when they did that, when they got into their work and they were able to, really dominate possession and run up that middle aspect of the park, they looked really good. And then when they went out in the wide channels, I felt that the Highlanders had them reasonably well marked. But this was never, the Blues were never in cruise control in this game. I mean, it was as tight as you would expect it to be, and it was, compared to what we've seen recently in this competition, just much more of what you would expect from two Kiwi teams really going at it. So yeah, there were a couple of moments in the game. Obviously the yellow card to Ash Dixon, and I'll talk about that first. The thing was that Dixon, he actually wrapped his arms, and that probably saved him from maybe a different coloured card that he got. But contact to the shoulder, secondary contact, they said, probably a fair call. And I think Terry Black was menacing all game long. I mean, it might not look like it, and he might not get the plaudits that he deserves when all this is washed up, but he when he had a little bit of time, he really did marshal that backline well. And although Rico Ioane, we didn't talk about him a whole lot in the game, but he shows again just why he's moving into that role of in the midfield really well. He just he shows some really good intent to get his hands on the ball, and when he did, it tended to spark the Blues. For me, though, one of the players of the game, it's got to be Dalton Papali'i. I mean, just he's taken this game to another level entirely, and I think given some of the injuries that are going on, to likes of Sam Cane, and there's a bit of a question mark over Adi Savia as well. I mean, he's got to be your next loose forward for that 7 jersey, I think, and tonight was somewhat of a statement from him. He was just so imposing, and the Blues. One of the things that impressed me about the Blues was their commitment to the chase. That moment where Finlay Christie, puts up the high ball. There's a lot of kicking in this game, particularly from the box, and some of them were, the majority of them were actually really contestable kicks on both sides. You'd expect that from Aaron Smith, but I was a wee bit unsure about how Christie was going to go. I mean, he's been in great form, and I think it's only a matter of time until he gets into that All Black squad. But this is his first moment in a final and a real big stage, and going up against a guy like Aaron Smith on this sort of match, always going to be a massive test for Finlay, and his he showed again just why he's got a number of different things to his game, and I just think if he can bring that passing, make it a wee bit quicker, he'll do all right. So on the other side, the Highlanders, I mean, the tackle stats are just incredible. I mean, it's like just before the end of the game, it was like 139 tackles made to something like 69, 68, 69 on the part of the Blues. So, that tells you a number of things. The Blues, where the Highlanders will be disappointed is that they were suffocated. They were really suffocated from start to finish in this game, and barring that last 20, 25 minutes, momentum turned, and you've got to credit the Highlanders for that, but they were just playing in far too, just the wrong area of the field. You just can't be defending your own line and basically not getting out of that area of the field. For it felt like a long time they were either defending, and I mean the tackle stats back that up, but the second thing as well, because they were on the wrong end of territory, they weren't able to really, when they did clear their lines, get much farther than the halfway line, and the Blues just kept pummeling and as I said earlier, after they scored their try and they went into that, I think it was 7-3 lead, I want to say, they were pretty good, and they just got into their work and they did it really well, and that's what was most impressive about the work tonight. For me, Patrick Tuipulotu was good. All the forwards were good, in the scrum. I think the Highlanders were sort of compromised a wee bit in the scrum. The injury to Tokalahi early in the game, and that leg was the knee was, I think it was his left knee. Yeah, it was his left knee. I think it was pretty badly banged up, and Ethan de Groot, it didn't have the greatest game, but he has, he's had a great season, take nothing away from him, but it would have been a big call at that point to take, a guy like Tokalahi off, but the thing is, about the scrum, particularly in that front row, if your legs are compromised, and, it's pretty clear that both Tokalahi and de Groot were, probably feeling a few niggles in those knees. It's not going to be an easy task. Particularly when, you've got the likes of the Blues forwards, and I mean, I mentioned this in my preview video earlier in the week. I think it's been a lot of talk about the Blues all year, and mainly about the potential of their forward pack, and throughout the Aotearoa campaign, I don't think that they really did the job that they should have, and this Trans-Tasman comp, whether it's because of the opposition that they've had, or they've had that a wee break between between Aotearoa and Transtasman, for only a week or so, they've been a lot better, and they've had to do it with injuries as well. I mean, tonight there was no Robinson, for example. That they were, but the Fords did what they should have done better earlier in the year. They did that really well tonight, and it was a question mark for me because, like, as I said in the preview, it's one thing to do that against the Aussie sides, and it's another to do it against the Kiwi opposition. And I was a bit sort of dubious about whether they would be able to come in and do the job tonight. But again, the player capability in that forward pack, the combinations that they've got, there's no reason that they shouldn't do the job. But big time, big stage pressure, and we saw that for the Blues tonight as well. Like that last 20 minutes of the game, the Highlanders really flipped the switch, and Mitch Hunt, like some of those goal kicks that he nailed were fantastic, but then Harry Plummer, for the Blues, just two fantastic shots at goal, and the one to give the Blues the lead, I think it was, before the last try there. I mean, one of the most perfect kicks you'll see. It was just like you couldn't get better off the tee than Plummer was tonight. So I think where this game was won and lost was it's hard to say, but I really think that the tackles that the Highlanders were forced to make will be massive. Like the fatigue factor for those players tonight it'll be right up there. It'll be the same as it was obviously in the Aotearoa campaign. And I mean, they came off a trip to Canberra, and I think that's not easy. Yeah, we all know that's not easy to go over to Canberra and win. But what is so pleasing in the quality of this match was just the Highlanders deserve a lot of plaudits for how they really came back, because they were score-wise not, the scoreboard doesn't really tell the full picture, I don't think. It really felt like they were just hanging on, particularly the start of that second half, after the attrition that went out of all the defending for the majority of the first half. It felt like that first little bit, the first salvo of the second half, they were kind of just hanging on, and to be able to ride all that out and then turn momentum, whether that was because the Blues, I think it was a mixture of the Blues maybe not switching off, but just not executing the basics. There's a few handling errors, a couple of players slipped over, and the Highlanders were really good at taking the opportunities to turn the ball over and to win penalties when they came. They did that really, really well. Obviously, there was another moment with the referees, the Mitch Hunt incident, and I think there was another one too where a penalty was overturned. So there was two moments there. There was that Mitch Hunt sort of high ball. If we're about protecting the player, that probably should have been a yellow card. Especially if you're going to give Ash Dixon one. I know it's a sort of a different situation, of course, but you got to protect the player who's going up for the ball, and I'm not sure that the rationale behind not giving a yellow was up to snuff. Certainly the penalty, can't remember who it was, the blonde-haired Highlander forward, won the penalty, and it was a clear release, tackler release, and then over the ball, wins the penalty, plain as day, and then the sideline referee, I think Paul Williams, decided to get in the referee Mike Fraser's ear and turn it over. Based on what I don't think we know still. You know, and it's sort of it's stuff like that that really needs to be sorted in the game. It's not good for the audience. It's not good for the players. It's not good for the game. You know, when it's a pretty clear cut. Sorry, 23-16, the final score. I think I said 23-15 earlier, but hang on. Was it 23-16 or 23-18? 23-8. Yes, yeah, 23-15 is the score. Pretty sure that's the score. Confirm down below. See what the hell I want to say. What's the score? 23-15, isn't it? Let's see what stuff is saying. Yeah, 23-15. So, bit of a mistake there on the Blues social media, but all good. All good. So yeah, I felt that the Blues deserved winners tonight, and you know, 18 years. It's been a real long time in coming, and they deserve it. You know, they are very open in the post-match interview as well about, you know, they didn't get the job done in Aotearoa. They've got it done tonight in Trans-Tasman, and they deserve it. And you know, I'm very happy for the Blues fans. You know, more than anything, like the fans, they've been through the absolute ringer in the last 18 years, and there's a lot of expectation, you know, up in Blues country, and it always seems like the start of every super campaign where, you know, us in the media, we're talking about two things, you know, either the Blues and the hype of that, or lack thereof, or we were talking about the Crusaders, and how nice was it, you know, quite frankly, how nice was it to not have a final with the Crusaders, and I'll stand by it. You know, I think doesn't really matter at this point. You know, the Blues have got the title, but would they have won if they had come up against the Crusaders? I mean, they would have pushed them close to a performance like tonight, but you know, that's neither here nor there, is it? So yeah, the wait is over. Fantastic. Let me know in the comments, if you are watching this, what you thought. Are you happy about the result? Are you disappointed about the result? Are you filthy at the referee? Is there something in the game that you weren't happy with, or you were delighted with? Who was your player of the game? For me, Dalton Papali'i, fantastic shift tonight. Very, very impressed, and I think he will definitely have his name read out in that All Black squad on Monday. That's it from me for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your night, no matter where you are, around New Zealand or around the world, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.